Welcome to AbilityMKE Now. This is a show all about integration, bringing people with disabilities and people that don't have a disability together, enjoying life here in the Milwaukee area. All have different abilities. And sorry, I had a background noise there. I don't want to come through, but we all have different abilities here. And at AbilityMKE Now, we are diving into this topic of diverse abilities. The concept of disability hits a wide range of possibilities. We could be talking about physical or mental disabilities, the deaf and hard of hearing community, blindness, chronic pain, mental health diagnosis, goals of substance use reduction, and the list goes on. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own or with people we know or people we encounter in our daily lives. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we break down the barriers and celebrate the ability in all of us. So here at AbilityMKE Now, my name again is Sue Roskoff, and I am excited for the evening that is ahead of us. We've got a new friend of the show joining us, and I am going to go ahead and bring her in right away. Her name is Tabitha Moore. She is a life mindset and money coach, and I am excited to get the chance to learn a bit more about what she does. And Tabitha, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited.
Excellent. This actually is the International Day of Happiness. So happy is the place to be. And it's been a fun day actually. Just on a side note, I was part of a group that was doing a 6-hour event today that was all about happiness and celebrating. And that's where I'm so glad that it was on the same day as us doing this show tonight, because this will be a lot of fun as we can continue our day this way. So Tabitha, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Okay. So I help women move from debt to prosperity without judgment or the fear or without having to give up things and having to sacrifice. I do stuff around mindset and life coaching. And for most people, the problem with money is not the money, it's about the mindset. We get stuck in the scarcity mindset and we think, oh my gosh, I don't have enough. I can't do this because I don't have enough. And we get stuck in that thought process, and that creates the lack of having enough money. So, yeah.
And I totally can see that. I think everybody can relate to that concept of we've all been at those points in life where it's like, how am I going to pay off my bills this month? Where am I going? What do I do next? And it can very easily get overwhelming. So when somebody comes to you and they're in the middle of that, how do you talk to them? What do you do to start heading things mindset wise in the right and everything in the right direction?
So the first thing really is to look at the words they're using and the thinking and to move them out of that panic. So we want to get relaxed and feel calm, because when you're in that other energy, you can't think as well, right? You can't see solutions, you only see the problem. So whether we do breathing exercises or we put on their favorite tune and we do like a dance and just shake it all out, just whatever they need to relax and just be in the right energy. You want to be in a high vibe energy so that you can figure out high vibe answers, opportunities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then from there, we look at what's going on. Where can we find the money? Different opportunities, different. It really depends on the person. I do one-on-one for money coaching. So we look at their situation. I give some suggestions on where they might possibly find money, like just different things to look at. Like for instance, look at your credit card charges. Do you have something that you're doubling? Like, do you have two subscriptions to something? Because a lot of times that happens. I know for a while I paid for two subscriptions for Reader's Digest. And I'm like, why am I getting a bill? I just paid this bill like a month ago. And I had 2 subscriptions. Yay. There's lots of things like that that we have in our lives. We don't know unless we look for them, right?
Yeah. And that's so important. There's actually a lot of simple things that we can do on our own. It's just that whole part of, oh yeah, I actually have to do something then to get in that direction.
Right.
And sometimes that's hard. But how many of us like to just kind of bury our heads in the sand and just, not deal with that because hard things are hard, right?
Yeah. And that's just it. A lot of times we label it hard and we make it hard. It's the language we're using and what we're telling ourselves. So to move out of that, got to move out of the stress and move out of the language that says we can't do it or it's hard. A lot of times you feel stuck. So you're using language and you're thinking that way. It's a choice, right? Okay, I'm struggling to pay my bills, to pay this, to pay that. It's a choice. You don't have to pay that. You get the bill, but you don't have to. Some people blow their money and say to heck with the bills. We choose to because we want to stay in our house or we want to have our car. Right? It's a choice. And when you feel that you have the choice, you suddenly feel empowered. And it's a lot easier to find solutions. So, yeah. It's exciting when I see people move from the stress and oh my gosh, it's horrible to feeling they have the choice and they have answers. It's awesome to see that.
Excellent. Well, actually, you make me wonder, do you have any success stories of people you've worked with that you can share with us?
Um, I do have some. I know some people, money isn't their strong suit, and that's okay. There's no reason to feel bad about it. I couldn't go build a house. That is not my gift. If I did that, we would have big trouble. So, get somebody to help you. You need to learn some basics and then set up some systems and get help. And I know I have somebody in my family who is not somebody to manage their money. So we set up some systems and they had an account for their spending money and an account for their bills and an account for other stuff as well, so that they knew the money that they could spend and they had their bills covered. And we set up a system and somebody who would, if you put $15,000 in the same account, they would blow through the whole $15,000 no problem. It's just a matter of separating it out and putting systems in place. And they save money on their own without having a $15,000 sitting there. So it's awesome to see something so simple make it easy for people who struggle.
Excellent. And how long have you been doing this now?
Um, I've just added the money coaching in the last year, but before that, I had helped out different people. It's easy for me. I like to do it, make it easy for them. So yeah,
Excellent. Yeah, 'cause I know helping people makes such a difference personally. I know with what we do a lot with this whole concept of with this show, Ability MKE Now. So these ability related kind of topics. Part of our history is doing adaptive water skiing, and which is an odd connecting point to how we got to where we are, but it's actually a big piece of our story. And I've talked before about how when we have people come out and do adaptive water skiing with us, how much they love the experience, how great the day is. And I always say, I never know really who got more out of it, if they did or if I did. And as somebody who gets to help run the event and be something of a facilitator of what's going on there, I get so much reward and satisfaction out of being in that position and being able to share something that is a passion of mine with our participants. Uh, I can see that in you too, that you find joy in being able to help others and helping them get to where they're going.
I do. Yeah, yeah, and it's to do something I'm passionate about, and to share it with them and make it easy for them, even though it isn't easy for them. It feels so good. And I can understand. I know at one point I struggled with money and this my situation had changed and hadn't got a hold of it yet. So I didn't set enough money aside like when I first got married. Um, I suddenly had a husband and 2 young children because my husband had 2 children. So to manage money for a family was way different than managing money for a single person. So it kind of blew my money stuff out of the water. And I was one of those people stressing money, and I didn't have to. It just, my circumstance changed. I just had to learn how to do it differently. And a lot of other people are stressing money, and they just need to learn new skills and new tricks to make it easy. And I can help them with that.
Awesome. What if there was a I'm just thinking like the most common thing that you tend to see with people that's an easy fix. Do you have anything that actually falls? I don't know if there anything does fall into that category, but with people that you've talked to with they're coming and looking for help with how to handle their finances, they're struggling in some way. Is there kind of a common theme at all that you see that is typical with the people that come to you?
A lot of times people are spending small amounts of money. Like, say, for example, they're going to Tim Hortons on a regular basis. They have no idea how much they're actually spending. Hey, it's only $6. Or they're spending $6 here or there, or $10 here and there, and they don't pay attention to that little amount. If you're spending $10 every week, like say 6 times or $6 10 times a week, and you're not paying attention, that's like $60 a week. And if you do that, like 60-ish, and if you do that every week, like you're looking at almost $300 a month. And if you're struggling to pay stuff, and $300 a month is going to help with that. And that's the small things, right? Like, the biggest thing is, are you aware of how much you're spending? Look at where you're spending your money and how much you're spending. And I'm sure you'll find money that you didn't even know you had.
It's amazing because I know everybody you get that paycheck in, and it's so easy. It's a common thing to hear. It's like, well, month is longer than the paycheck, not making it to the end.
Right, right,
And you're right. Actually, taking that moment to look at those at the little things like that, it's easy to look at it and say, but it's only $10 or it's only $6. It's not much. But you're right. When you really look at the entire month then of how many times you said that, if you start keeping track, I think that it can be an easy wake up call to be able to say, okay, I can make a difference here. I can make some improvements.
right. Yeah, yeah. Just the biggest thing is be aware of your money. So start tracking and look at where you're spending, and make sure you're spending it on stuff that's important to you. Before you make a bigger purchase, ask yourself, is this going to give me joy? Is it going to give me joy today? Is it going to give me joy in a month? How about 6 months? Am I going to go home and put it in the closet and never touch it again? Because then you're just going to feel guilty. You don't want to buy stuff you're not going to use. You want to have joy.
Excellent. So tell me a little more about how you got started with all of this. What led you down the path to be in the position you're in? Because I think it's actually pretty awesome to be able to be in this kind of position to help others and be that thing that, again, I really do believe that sometimes having somebody even I guess in my mind I'm going towards thinking accountability wise too, to be able to check in and to help a person do the right things to get themselves in a better spot. What I know you had said like your financial situation changed when you got married and now you've got kids and figuring out, there's things you got to magically know, right? Somehow all of a sudden you're supposed to be able to do things you've never done before. Is that a part of, and obviously that's part of your story, but is that part of the inspiration then that led you to say, hey, I want to help others with this is something I can do?
The thing originally when I started, I became just a life coach. And what brought me to that is I wanted to do something to make a lasting difference in people's lives. Um, so I found a program and I took the chance and I became a life coach. And then when interest rates and that went up, I really felt bad for people who were struggling, who shouldn't have to struggle, that their money was there, they just didn't know it. So um, and because I love doing it and I find it easy, I just wanted to help other people so they didn't have to struggle. Yeah, it just lifts me up. I love doing it. I will run comparisons for interest rates. This credit card's this interest rate, and if I get it at a lower interest rate, I save this much. And I I love comparing stuff like that. And I can give people the information. If you have a credit card that's higher interest, the difference is just crazy. And a lot of times, what they tell you to pay, when you look, some of them actually tell you how long it'll take to pay. And it could give people a heart attack. You'd be paying that little amount for like 2 years, and it's something small because of the interest rate. So,
And that interest, when you talk about all the little things, if you take a step back and see, okay, this is how much interest I paid this month. Now look at how much that's going to be over the course of this year. Can you do something different with that money? Is there a
yeah,
way to make a difference? How, because I think even with that, some people look at the interest rate and seeing that this is how much it ends up being this month. It's not that much, but really it is. That's all those things that just end up eating away at what should be yours.
yeah,
And to be able to recognize that. And I guess I often think about back like in high school, where is there a class? Is there a place where you are supposed to learn all these things about money and wait a second, a mortgage, how does a mortgage work, and what things do you need to know as you venture out as an adult? What, maybe I should ask you that, what's a couple of big tips that you could give to maybe somebody who's first starting out in the real world on their own, whether you're fresh out of high school or fresh out of college? What's a good starting point? What things should you keep in mind to get things moving in the right direction?
there's actually a couple free courses that you can do. I have one of them on my website, and I did it it's not from me, it's from McGill University. And I did it just to see what it had, and it has lots of great tips. But for me, for tips I would give, I would be careful with credit. A lot of times banks will give you credit and they don't teach you how to manage it. And you'll end up messing up your credit score, which affects a lot of stuff in your life, even getting a cell phone. It's amazing that your credit score can affect that, or getting an apartment or a job. Lots of times they look at your credit score to see if you're reliable. And if you don't know how to manage it, get some help, right? There's lots of people out there to help. And unfortunately, our parents aren't always the best example. They have some parents have a lot of negative um, stuff about money, and they've already passed it on to you and will continue to pass it on. A lot of times it's the negativity that draws you down and you don't find solutions and you look at it differently. So look
Yeah,
at your mindset.
yeah. Well, I actually made me think about when I was in college. I do remember that where the number of credit card applications that I got as a college student was completely absurd. And this one's better than the next. And it's like, okay, first of all, I really didn't need a credit card yet at that point. But I also want to say though that how about talking about credit score? Can you give any advice at all on what are some good steps a person can take to actually have a good credit score? Because I really don't know that I understood the importance of it when I, especially coming right around, college age and all that, that is a good time to start thinking about that. But I didn't understand again the importance of it or how do you have a good one? Can you talk to that at all?
So if you get the credit card, and use it properly, like if you spend money on it every month, make sure you have the money to pay it off. Making your payments on time all the time will really help your credit score. Now, also, you're not going to want to run it all the way up. You only want to use 30% of your credit, which sounds ridiculous. I don't know why they have it like that. Write it like, okay, but they only want you to use 30%. So you want to keep it below that, pay it off every month, and always pay your bills on time. Um, if you have trouble with that, put reminders in your calendar. Most of the time it's right around the same time. Reminders are awesome. Then you don't forget. Make sure, and if you need more than one reminder, put more than one reminder. You know your habits and do protective measures or reminding measures so that you can make sure you pay on time. And even your bills, you want to pay all your bills on time.
Excellent. Great tips. That makes doing all the, again, it goes back to doing those little things right along the way make a big impact and a big difference in the big picture.
Yes, yes.
Excellent. Well, here I do see we have another person that's joining us. I figure maybe I should bring him in right away because I know we've got just a few minutes left. I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to meet yet, but Alan Holmes is a gentleman who has joined us before and is a wonderful gentleman. I absolutely love Alan. He is known as the Master Connector and is really, really good at connecting people and all sorts of wonderful things. So, Alan, why don't you come on in and say hello and share a little bit more about who you are?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, had to find the unmute button. Tabitha. I hope that's pronounced your name right, young lady. Happy Women's Awareness Month to you as well as Sue. Thank you for allowing me to be here to this wonderful spring day. Emily told me about this, but like always, I got sidetracked. I had so many projects I'm working on, but I'm a master connector from Southern California. It's the first day of spring. I specialize in connecting business owners, whether they're home-based or storefront, those who have new ideas, technologies, their new book, hint, hint, or the everyday consumer with unique resources. So I call myself a human search engine. I love to collaborate, connect, and as Tabitha says, your best life amplified. I love that. And that's who I am. Just love to figure out how I can be of service. Thank you, Sue, for having me.
Absolutely. That's one thing that I find wonderful. You both have an amazing servant's heart. And I think, I don't know if you two have had a chance to meet before, maybe not. No? Okay. Well,
No,
actually,
no,
Tabitha,
ma'am.
why don't you go ahead and give just a brief intro of who you are so Alan can know a little bit more about you too.
So I'm a life mindset and money coach, and I help women move from debt to prosperity without the judgment or the fear or being restricted. A lot of times, money is stressful. I help them think about the money and move into the positive of it and not be sucked down the rabbit hole of negativity and worry about the money. Yeah.
Oh, she's using my favorite word, rabbit holes. That's why I always tend to go down that all the time. So no, that's actually, let me ask you, Tabitha, I feel like I'm kind of taking over Sue's job here, but let me ask you, the women, are you looking for the single moms, the family, women who are very stressful? Are you open to collaborative with others? Because I actually have another financial she's a disruptor with another company, but she helps with student loans and so forth. They say, do you educate and pick up where she left off, or are you open to collaborate? Or, well, who can I look out, be your power partners? Because as Sue knows, I know I have about 2,200 connections, and I've added a little bit more on some of my associates. Thank the wonderful, great Kurt Raskoff and the No Card. I have some different connections that I can maybe put your message in front of.
I'm willing to collaborate, and yes, I can educate, work with somebody and educate where they leave off. My main area that I like to work with is empty nester moms. Not that I can work with anybody, but those are, I find that a lot of times at that stage in life, women are kind of lost. Their kids have
Yes,
moved out and they don't know who they are, and they're in a big transition, and learning about money and taking control of that helps give them a purpose again.
okay. Well, I will put that in my memory bank. Empty nester moms. I remember there was a TV show called Empty Nest. So and I just saw a lady named Annie Potts on the TV, so I can remember that very quickly. Beautiful flowers, and like I say, the very fact that you're Your Best Life Amplified. I love that background. Did you come up with that?
That's actually a picture of my pond from about 2 years ago.
Oh,
Ah,
wow. It's
okay,
beautiful. I
okay.
can see
Thank you.
the lily
Thank you.
pads,
Yes.
the beautiful flowers. It looks very comforting, very relaxing.
Yeah, it is very relaxing. There's a nice little waterfall there too, just to, to listen to and relax.
Oh, now
I
where
love
you
it.
located?
I'm in Ontario, Canada.
Oh my goodness, a fellow Canadian. Okay, well, I'm not from Canada, but anybody knows me. I'm a WWE fan, and the KO is from Kevin Owens is from Canada. So is Sami Zayn. WrestleMania is in about another 3 weeks, and so they're gonna have a lot of so I know the Canadian song. I don't want to start singing it. I may hurt your listeners' ears, but beautiful Canada. I flew through there when I was in the military, coming on a stop. It was in Montreal, just briefly, but it's a beautiful country, and I want to say thank you from Southern California to Canada to where Sue is. Yeah, you'll get to know me. I do this. I go off on my little tangents, but thank you, Tabitha. It's nice to meet you, young lady.
Nice to meet you too.
It's
Okay,
fun. We
Sue,
are
back to you. I
officially
feel like
international.
yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Well, which goes well with today. So it is International Day of Happiness today. So I got to ask, what did you do today that made you extra happy? Was there anything that stood out about your wonderful day today? So, and Tabitha, I'll start with you.
Um, I thought about when we had spring last week because today we're getting like snow squalls. So I pretended like that wasn't the case. And I enjoyed thinking about last week where it was beautiful spring weather.
Can appreciate that so much. It's getting cold here, and we're supposed to get. Last I looked, they're saying several inches of snow tomorrow. I don't know what the latest number is anymore. I've stopped looking, but yes, I'm ready for summer too. Ellen, how about you?
I took out the little doggy. I took him outside. He was bouncing around. He kept poking his nose at the little rubbish outside the backyard, and he kind of looked at me. And this started about 5:30 this morning. That, and then I shared a couple of posts on LinkedIn about the different Happy Neighborhood Project. I guess they had the International Day of Happiness today, so I shared some of the posts in Edwin's new book on the Book of Happiness. It's on Amazon, hint, hint. So I shared that as well. So it's just been an incredible, never know. Of course, oh yeah, and then of course I was very happy because I'm a Dodger fan out here, California, in the Los Angeles Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, he's the big new Japanese acquisition that we got. So I watched all the his countrymen. They were taking pictures of him. He's tall. He's probably about 7'3". So I'm gonna be watching the Dodgers this year. March 31st is actually opening day, so I'm hoping to see him. But yeah, that's kind of my day, just full rounded.
Excellent. Oh, I love it. Well, this has been such a pleasure having you both on here. I hope I can bring both of you back another time so we can continue our conversations. There's so many good things to share. So this again is Ability MKE Now. My name is Sue Roskoff, and Tabitha, Ellen, both of you, I wish you all the best on this, the International Day of Happiness. And as always, we thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great talking to you and meeting you,
too.
Alan.
You too, young lady. Thank you.